All right, we are back here for round number 4, the final round for all the marbles here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. We're Portland Paper, bringing you the best, the highest quality, analog, modern paper Magic the Gathering content in the Portland area. I'm Travis Cooper, hanging out with,
Curran Delahanty.
and what do we have? Let's see what we've got for this final match. We have a familiar face on the stream, Vinny, SCG champion, Balistrary, playing the Footfalls versus Mono Blue Affinity. Oh, I need to edit that title editor.
Yeah, Vinny back from round 1 here to try to claim the 4-0 championship up against Mono Blue Affinity. Not what I was expecting, but it's going to be an interesting matchup. What do you think? What do you think of the matchup, Travis? Who do you think's favored here?
I'm curious if we're playing like, are we playing Urza Lord in Mono Blue Affinity? Are we just like we're pumping out a lot of constructs, we're low to the ground? Vinny has a fair amount of removal. Like, Vinny's not on Fury, actually. I think we're just on Bone Crusher Giant and Bounce spells.
That's a
No,
fear.
we have Fury. Okay. Fury's really good against
Oh,
this deck because you're playing like, I don't exactly know the makeup of their deck, but I imagine Ornithopters and Midnights are in it, and if you're playing that kind of deck, Fury is pretty good against it.
Vinny a default of 5 here. That's a pretty rough start. And here we go. The show is beginning. Thoughtcast.
Did
Boom.
Vinny keep the Fury in hand, or did we bottom
No,
that?
bottomed.
Oh, that feels so rough. Uh,
Yeah. They
uh,
had no way of knowing, though.
yeah, I know, but there's regrets. I've had a few that might be going through the head right now. All right. Oh man, Quinn with like artifacts and podcasts on turn 1, pretty strong.
Wonder if we'll see like a follow up big artifact equipment thing. What's it called?
Nettle Cyst, yeah. I feel like Nettle Cyst is going to be really strong in this matchup. I mean, if I feel Vinny is not
Oh, needle check.
okay. We're fetching in response to Needle. I feel like Vinny isn't insanely unfavored in this matchup. Being on the draw hurts for sure, but with cards like Fury, Bounce Spells, Bone Crusher, you're like, it's not awful, but I feel like Quinn's probably kind of favored. But you have to draw some sort of payoff spell.
Interesting that we would send one ornithopter when we have 2 springleaf drums up. We might as well just represent, right? Like there was no point in doing that except hard flexing on Vinny, right?
This is for color rhinos. It's true.
4 color. Saga, that's a huge draw for Quinn.
Yeah, just
And
Shadow Spear is just really good in this matchup. I mean, Brazen Borrower can bounce. Like, Vinny is going to have to rely on kind of outplaying his opponent with these like bounce spells or like removal spells, and just like you're interacting on the stack for Vinny, or during attacks. You're interacting instant speed, and Quinn's just like creating a mass of board presence.
did we get the name for Needle, by the way? Was it Boseiju?
I did not hear the name for Needle. No.
That's a bummer.
Really appreciate Krakentoa in chat shouting out
The
a
Bobarigamos.
very, very, very niche magic pithing needle like
The
thing.
Bob
Yeah.
Huang feature match. I remember.
How you know how long you've played Magic and how invested you've been. We're a bunch of boomers here. Not really, but in spirit.
In spirit.
All right, we're getting some rhinos.
Yes, right off the top.
Zing.
Let's go. So Do you think Quinn's probably playing cranial plating too, right? Do you think like that's actually what I was thinking over Nettle Cyst initially, and then you reminded me that Nettle Cyst existed.
Yeah, I think you play 4 Nettle before your first plating. I don't know. This is pure speculation. I haven't looked at a mono blue list, but I think plating is probably in there. I could see it like a 3-1 maybe. Um, but yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, looks like I might be wrong. Chat saying there's 4 plating first and then Nettle Cyst.
Hmm.
I guess I'm more used to seeing blue white where you have the Stoneforge package, but
Ooh, Charm's gonna steal the construct right out from under Quinn here.
and the construct's going to be a 2/2 because Shardless
Shardless.
is an artifact.
I think things are going pretty well for Vinny here, all things considered. Like, I don't know. I am wondering what this saga is about to grab and if it will be super changing to the game state. Definitely going to make a construct first. Totally makes sense.
I mean, Shadow Spear is
Shadow
like
Spear
the
is probably
to like
insane,
level
right?
0 play, but you know it is interesting. As someone who's played a lot of Archmage's charms, being able to steal a Shadow Spear is pretty sweet when you can equip it
Oh.
on your own creature.
Aether Spellbomb. Okay. Okay.
That's kind of like a free removal for half of a Crashing Footfalls.
Cast a Memnite. Play a land out of cards in hand now.
That's a pretty mediocre board that Quinn has. Very large construct, but everything else is pretty like meh.
If Vinny has another Archmage's Charm, it's just whew. Oh, Brazen Borrower is also really good. That was a nice draw on Vinny's part.
Do we have another land too, so we can like bounce construct and then do the things? Are we on 4?
Right. Might be stuck on 4 here. Yeah, I have to imagine that Quinn's probably running Emery, and yeah, Emery Spellbomb would be a nice chain to have. But
All right, that's a scoop there.
yeah, Vinny's gonna go up a game here.
That was way more of a steamroll than I was expecting.
Yeah, that Archmage's Charm was a lot, and oh yeah, look at all these Force of Vigors. Look at that. That's gonna be disgusting.
Well,
I love Force of Vigor.
I mean, the plus side is Quinn's playing blue, so I imagine in your 75 there's at least 3, if not 4, metallic rebukes. I would assume so, because you know there's a lot of combos, spell-based decks that are going around. Um, I could see Vinny siding out stuff like Force of Negation, because it's pretty bad. You know, if you think of the context of Quinn's main deck, like, you know, Quinn can mostly like get the equipments or whatever artifacts off of Urza Saga and then play out their hand very early, and there's not like one like card that just like is going to be worth it to 2-for-1 yourself with if you're Vinny. So I could see rebukes actually being better when Quinn brings them in the side. Because of what Vinny's strategy might be. But yeah,
Yeah, it looks like Vinny was contemplating Force Negation, then moved him to the top here. I imagine they're gonna get cut. I like the Brazen Borrower personally, especially after. Wow, that's a lot of Brazen Borrower cut.
I think it's interesting in these Rhinos decks. Like, I'm used to playing decks that have like, you know, your 15 sideboard slots are maybe like 10 to 12 different cards, and these Rhinos decks have a ton of like this is a 3 or 4 of in my sideboard, because you're limited with the CMC because of Cascade, and so you have a lot of like, against this strategy I am boarding out all of this X and boarding in all of this X, and it seems to make like that just makes your decisions a lot easier and quicker with sideboarding, especially when you don't have to have like a guide for like every deck in the format.
Yeah. I don't love Vinny's board plan here, but it'll probably work out for him.
I mean, I guess if you're on like level 2, yeah, if you're on like level 2 or something, you're thinking like, okay, my opponent's boarding in counter spells because they're blue deck. So
Right.
I could sort of see keeping in forces, but I'm kind of into boarding out maybe Fire Ices.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, Gone is totally fine still out of Dead Gone, but like Fire Ice seems like pretty inconsistent as far as like getting a lot of use out of it.
And I kind of like Borrower better than Dead Gone, right?
Yeah.
Because you have like a flying evasive threat where sure Quinn has like Ornithopter, but besides that, there's not a lot of flying in the deck. And I like Fire Ice if I'm on the play, because like on your turn 2, if your opponent's deployed a bunch of like Mimknights and Ornithopters and a drum, you might be able to like do a 2. You might get a 2-for-1, but when you're on the draw, like the fire part's like pretty bad. So
Yeah. That's true. Uh, I thought Vinny had shuffled all parts of his deck there.
oh, that's a lot of glare.
Jeez. Yeah, we're not getting anything out of that. Sheesh. I see a stomping ground. That's much better.
Curious why Quinn's playing fetch lands. If we're truly on mono blue.
Hmm.
Uh, Vinny commentates and is a friend and is also like plays Pokemon and stuff, and like is a very, very not cheaty player and calls himself on his own mistakes. So if there was bad form of shuffling, I'm sure it's unintentional, and we'll probably watch back and do some self analysis. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely fair. We appreciate, the vigilance and everything. But yeah, it's definitely just being casual on Vinny's part. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it is. I feel like I've definitely pointed that out to players that I've played against at like an F&M type setting where it's like your top card is never changing, and there are people that I know that are not doing it intentionally, but yeah, it's something if it's worth pointing out because people might not realize what they're doing. Oh wow, a master of Ethereum.
Ooh, here we go.
We got a lord.
We have some power on the board. Love to see it. And he's got this Force of Vigor though, and that looks pretty sickening right now. But I don't know. Let's see what happens here. All right,
Are we doing it?
we're doing it.
What are
I
we
think.
pitching?
Violent Outburst. It looks like we do have a Shardless Agent still. So
Huh. Interesting.
oh yeah, Quinn is representing Metallic Rebuke.
It's a
That's
pretty
true.
medium force of vigor, right?
Getting the Master and the Mennonite, yeah, absolutely. Like, you got one big target out of the deal, but yeah, it did meet the Rebuke.
Are we gonna force
Last
of,
card in hand. Oh,
if we force of negation this, like
yeah!
Wow.
Look at the stack.
so
That was beautiful. Oh, but yeah, the Force of Vigor meets Welding Jar. I don't
wait,
know.
because Welding Jar has to tap, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to go check if Welding Jar?
Oh. Tap sack?
Yeah.
Should I just look it up on my phone?
Yeah, I feel like just stopping them before they get too far is good. I'm just trying to get Curran to do some laps here.
Punished.
Yeah, Jar's just sack. Okay, there we
Punished.
go. Sorry, Curran.
It's okay. I appreciate it. Thoughtcast coming down. Here we go.
I was trying to think of like a what for what, like, a 2-for-1 or 3-for-2 or 4-for-3 that interaction was with Vinny and Quinn, and I'm like still sort of like I'm gonna rewatch this. That's a lot. That's a lot of head thoughts there. Or how many for one now that we have Vinny cascading into rhinos? It's like what? Where's the scoreboard here? The scoreboard is Vinny has 2 4/4 trampling Michael Keatons and a Shardless Agent, and Quinn has a Lord that is eating a dead.
Actually,
Or gone. It's eating gone.
Pretty good. But Vinny's tapped out now, and Quinn just gets to do whatever.
There's only 2 cards in hand, one of which is known, and a Midnight, so...
Okay.
I feel like the Affinity decks are, like, they look really strong whenever they're chaining together draw 2s, but whenever you're playing, like, Midnights and Ornithopters, it's not super intimidating.
I think Vinny's price to just pass here because the Master just eats one of the rhinos. Oh, no, we're going to go for damage. I like it, actually. Go big. Alright. So, take 4. They massacred Michael Keaton.
Was that a Darksteel Citadel that was a pickup? Yeah. Or no, a Saga.
Oh, even better.
All right, it's big draw step for Vinny.
Let's see it. Oh, we're gonna do the fetch thing.
Vinny, you just need to angle it up ever so slightly, and we'll be able to see everything in your deck.
Just scroll. Just hold back, my dude.
Yeah, I feel like the Affinity deck needs to draw multiple draw 2s and then have a big payoff. And, oh, that was a Wooded Foothills.
Gosh, that's the second time just ripping land off the top. Vinny's in a tough spot now. I don't know. I mean...
Oh, boy, we're going to get constructing here.
Real soon.
Oh, this is gonna get hard.
Oh, big.
Well, I guess we can still make a construct because we have the
Spring leaf.
Yep.
Snap.
So I know Vinny is playing Cryptic Command of the deck, and the Cryptic Command has like fallen out of favor in the control decks, right? But when you're playing to the board, like that is one of the sort of like, I'm not religious, but like I feel like Hail Mary is a sentiment that people like are familiar with. But that's like you can draw a Cryptic, and then like that could dig you out of a situation that you have no reason to win.
Fire ice. Oh, we're so close. Wait.
I feel like I feel like attacking in might be the way to go because then you can tap the cons. No, you're dead if you do that. Oh man, I don't know. It's so tricky.
Could try to ice something out and draw a card.
I was thinking attacking and then icing and then drawing a card to win might be the way to go because you ice the. Oh.
What was the draw? What was the draw? What was the draw, Vinny? What did you get there? What'd you get, Vinny? Oh, it's a Scalding Tarn.
All right.
That was a lot of lanes from Vinny. Wow.
And it was funny because in each of those games, I thought the like advantage bar would have been on the player that didn't win at certain points.
That's right. You did board out the Cryptic, too. That was part of his board plan.
I don't know how many cryptics Vinny's playing. I would assume more than one, but maybe it's just one.
The list I was playing last week had one.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I feel like the
Force Negation's coming out.
oh, okay.
Yes, Vinny, yes.
Like I love Cryptic Command is one of my favorite Magic cards ever.
Oh,
But I feel that Archmage's Charm is also, even though it doesn't give you two things, it's like very versatile and it has the draw two is super strong when you're holding up mana. So I feel like the reason why Cryptic doesn't seem play is Charm has kind of forced it out a bit, and then everything in Modern is a bit more playing to the board and then playing for like two for ones and one card, and like Snap Cryptic is sweet. But there's so many like other ways to get card advantage in blue decks like Planeswalkers and you know many different types of card draw spells that yeah. I'm sad Cryptic isn't like super played, but it kind of makes sense.
it looks like Vinny's been shuffling properly this round, by the way, which, yeah, again, I'm pretty sure he was just lazy game one. Or game two, rather.
Yeah, I'm seeing the bottom pile go over the top of the first one sometimes,
Yeah.
plus a riffle.
I'm not gonna say anything that'll incriminate me here. Nothing happened.
I feel like it is sketchy when people are looking at their bottom card while they're shuffling. It looks like Vinny's intentionally looking away as well. So, which I always also try to, when you're shuffling, to make your cards like to your side, but then face away from your opponent, because it's, especially in game ones, you can get a lot of advantage just like watching your opponent shuffle and like seeing what cards are in their deck if they're not shuffling away from you.
Yeah, exactly. I always make a point to look away as well. It happens when you play enough competitive REL tournaments that you're just like, you're trying to present yourself as visibly not this, like, not sketch, you know?
It is really hard at team events though too, where
Oh,
like you don't
gosh,
want your
yeah.
opponent's teammates to see things, but you don't like yeah.
That's the worst. Yeah. I have a team event in July. I'm excited about it.
What are you doing the elves thing?
Yes, I'm going to be playing Legacy Elves, and our modern player is going to be on Burn, and our Pioneer player is going to be on Azorius Control. So we're pretty excited.
All right, looks like we have mulligan for Quinn.
All right. Vinny's hand looks pretty okay. Kind of land heavy, but both pitch spells pitch with Violent Outburst. So
All right, looks like Vinny's opening up with the fetch land and Odora plus 2 mana cards. And if folks are just tuning in, this is our final round of Modern Mondays, round number 4 here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon, with Portland Paper. And we do this every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And if folks enjoy watching, it's super helpful for our metrics. If you do the follow thing, if you just engage in chat, that's great. Subscribing is cool because it helps us do stuff like multiple camera angles and get cables, etc., make the stream better. So yeah, appreciate any type of engagement folks want, and we have videos we upload to YouTube during the following week that are searchable and edited by deck type.
all right, Fury's coming down to clean up the board, it looks like. Ooh, the Rebuke. Man, that card's been clutch.
Oh man. You thought you were going to 2-for-1 your opponent. You just got 2-for-1.
Wow.
Oh, sweet. We had someone gift a sub. That's awesome. And I hope the person who receives the gift is excited about their cool emoji that they get, which is very niche to Portland, especially if you lived here like 8 years ago. All right, we just passing from Vinny. We do have a violent outburst left over. It looks like is that a force of vigor too?
Yeah, definitely a force of vigor.
Did like hard cast force is like very good in the matchup. So even though Vinny got 2-for-1, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Quinn's board is not very threatening at this moment either. It looks like just being stranded on the one Ottawara as a mana source has been pretty constricting.
Shout out to Spinoza008 for a subscription too. Awesome. It feels good to get in this last round.
Thank you.
So if you're Vinny, do you hard cast force to just like clean up some 0 drops?
I'm not convinced. I kind of want better targets like Saga.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Now we're gonna get a draw too. I think I would have. Okay, it would have been pretty heads up for Vinny to cast force in response to that Ornithopter on the stack. I think.
Yeah, but the force is 4 mana.
Oh right.
Yeah,
Okay, so
so
we didn't have another green card in hand to pitch.
We did have the violent outburst.
Okay, yeah,
but
that's a.
I think he's probably just wanting to make rhinos off that. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because you could make rhinos now, and Quinn doesn't have Metallic Rebuke up, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, but does have a second violent outburst, so maybe it would have been heads up to probably do that, like in response to the Ornithopter, blow up 2 of the artifacts.
Yeah.
Would have been pretty heads up.
Pile of nonsense.
You are correct. Quinn's gonna find that second land, and we're just gonna see a Shadow Spear here. All right. Well, now Force of Vigor is seeing at least one juicy target.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Spear is a lot of times how this deck breaks parity. And looks like he's got. Let's see what Vinny's got in hand.
I see a Fire Ice, this
Ottawara.
Ottawara, the Violent Outburst, and the Force of Vigor.
Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah, it's all decent cards. Fire Ice probably the weakest of them, but still not bad.
Rhinos come in. Do a big think.
I mean, pretty great to use Force if they're. I was gonna say using Force to destroy after the equip with a Shadow Sphere, but now you're constraining mana a bit more if there's some draw twos.
There's a Thought Monitor in Quinn's hand, but I don't think.
Oh, this is looking pretty rough for Quinn. Oh wow, we have
more rhinos coming.
infinite rhinos left. I feel like this is also where I remember playing against, like, if I played a lot against Affinity before Opal was banned, and they had like the surprise like Ink Moth kill with plating that could come out of nowhere, and this feels very like a much more linear deck where it's all about amount of board presence plus maybe an equipment, but you have to actually connect with like, combat damage. So.
All right, we got a couple of creatures to try to jump on the way here, but
Chump blockers aren't great against trample.
yeah, and Vinny's about to have 2 more rhinos end of turn here. This is, there it is, and that's it. Vinny taking it all the way to the 4-0 with the 4-color rhinos.
All right, there we go. Yeah, it was cool to see Mono Blue Affinity at the top table, but yeah, looks like the Rhinos has had enough answers, like enough early interaction, and then plus like played kind of like a tempo deck really in this matchup, and was able to take the elusive 4-0. Yeah, I'd like to thank Curran for hanging out, sort of guest spotting here while I produce. It's really sweet to have you in the booth. Are you going to be playing Rhinos next week?
I don't know if I'll be on Rhinos next week. I might be on Modern Yawgmoth next week. I'm
Oh,
kind of
okay.
considering that, but I also wouldn't be surprised if I wanted to default and just play more Rhinos because the deck just feels so insane, and I don't know. Like, after the one round of misplaying it and then playing it correctly from there, it felt really, really good, so...
All right. Well, we thanks everyone for hanging on chat, for doing the follows, doing the subs, and just watching. We'll upload these videos throughout the week, edited, so you can check us out on YouTube if you want. And I hope everyone has a really sweet and awesome week. It's my birthday next weekend, but I'll be back after that next week at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for 4 rounds of paper, analog, modern Magic the Gathering coverage here in Portland, Oregon at Guardian Games. And we'll leave you with a little bit of the tune before we shut the stream off.